How's it going, Jack? It's great to get you back on the podcast. It's been 3 or 4 years at this point, and one, I can't even believe that my podcast has stayed around for that long. There's so many podcasts out there that stop recording and stop posting and everything, and I
Yeah,
feel like
congrats
I'm
to you
just
for staying around that long because I think the average podcast quits before 7 episodes. And so people
yeah
always ask me, like, what's a good goal for when I start my podcast? I'm like, just get past episode 7. If you could do that, you're better than half the podcasts out there. And
yeah.
now, how many years have you been doing this?
It's coming up on five
That's
actually.
amazing. Yeah, congrats to that.
Yeah, five years of weekly uploads. I mean,
Weekly, wow.
weekly interviews. I like doing it because at least that way I can stack them. So I'll go a couple weeks and I'll do a whole bunch of recording, and then release it throughout the next couple months. Take those months off to kind of recharge, focus on other things that I've been procrastinating about. But I looked at that same stat that you mentioned, right? And I'm all about trying to figure out ways of, I don't know, like fooling my mind or keeping myself going. And so as soon as I see a stat like, well, if you make it to episode 7, you're above 98% of the podcasts on the planet, right? It's like, oh, I just gotta get to 7. I could do 7, like,
Yeah.
and I just keep on going off of that. So it's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like to hope for like huge number success, like end of the game kind of stuff. I just want the next step in my growth journey. Episode 7 was one of my first goals. But then after that, it was, can I just grow by 1% from this month to the next month, right? It wasn't this huge leap to, I want 1 million downloads or something. I was just like, growth is better than no growth. Growth is living while, declining is dying or whatever. Like that's all it was. So 1% growth was it. And if you're at like 100 downloads per episode, that's just another listener. So it's like, I need
Right.
one more listener this month. How do I find one listener? And that's doable when you're starting out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the journey has been quite a grind to
It
be
sure
honest
has.
with
Yeah.
you. I mean, I'm sure you're obviously well aware of it, well acquainted with the grind, but like it's hard to get yourself motivated when, you recorded an episode, you thought it was great, you had a great guest, great conversation, and you get like 100 downloads. Like, okay, what am I doing this for then?
Yeah.
And it's not about the downloads, but it's like the validation of your hard work. That's what those downloads are. That's at least how I view it,
Yeah, I think as a creator, I mean, there's a certain lens that all the episodes have to go through, like a certain filter in order to make it on the show for me. But there are kind of 3 tracks in my mind of what kind of episode this is. It's either an episode that I love so much and it's just for me because this is the kind of stuff that I just am so into. Or it's an episode that's for like it's a crowd favorite, right? And for me, crowd favorites are pen test stories. People love hearing all the gear and the tactics and stuff pen testers use. And then the other one is sort of go outside my comfort zone and grab something, a whole audience that I'm not serving now and go into an area that I don't know. And so historically, that's been video games or cryptocurrencies or something like that, right? When I do a hacking story about one of these things, I've got to learn a lot about that culture. There was a music one I did. I didn't know that much about that kind of music, right? And so I had to really play those games and get in that space and buy the cryptocurrency just to see what is it like to use this app and all this sort of thing. And to be in with those guys screaming about all this stuff. And then I feel like I understand the culture and then I can present it properly. And so it's either a personal favorite, a crowd favorite, or drum up like a whole new audience out of this. And when you go deep into something, if somebody's really into crypto and that's all they think about all the time, and then you show them a story that they've never heard, they love that. That's value to them because they're like, wow, I didn't even know about this, and I've got my finger on the pulse on this every day. What else is this guy teaching me? And so they become a listener. Like they come in like, wow, this guy's valuable, and in other ways, he's teaching me about crypto, but he's also teaching me about all this other stuff. So I love bringing in those brand new audiences, and that's one of my favorites. Is when suddenly there's a whole group of people that I've never interacted before in my Discord, and I'm like, oh boy. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I remember, I think it was last year. I don't think your episode went live last year, but the episode that I heard of yours with Jim Lawler was
Yes.
just so fascinating to me because that's a world that I tried for years to get into. I mean, literal
CIA. You
years.
wanted to get in the CIA.
Yeah, I really wanted to get into any agency with the end goal being that agency. And I mean, like, I
Oh
would,
yeah, because you're ex-military, aren't you?
no, no. So I'll give you a little bit of that background on me, right? So, in high school, I was tempted to go into the military, but I knew if I went into the military at that point in time, it would be just about doing the minimum, getting out, going and getting a free degree, right? And I didn't want it to be about that. If I wanted to go in, I really wanted to like spend my life in that area. So I went to college, and in college, I had the full intent of like, hey, I'm going to get this degree. I'm going to go into the federal agencies and make my career there. I think it was like my second year in college. My sister developed kidney disease, so I ended up donating my kidney to her.
Mm.
And towards the end of my college degree, my bachelor's, I figured, okay, well, like, let's give the military a try. It might be a quick way to get in with different agencies. Military would not take me. I applied to every single branch, interviewed with a couple of them, started going down that process. And as soon as they found out I donated my kidney, they're like, nope, you're disqualified, you're done. So I
I
started to
see.
focus on the agencies, and the agencies were fine with it. They were like, no, that shows more, towards your character and integrity. That's what we want above and beyond anything else. And so I started going down that path. And I mean, I went through the interview process and for the FBI, and I can actually talk about this, but they sent me to like what looked like a safe house almost, where, to like do a computer test. Their computer assessments are like really, really interesting. So like they just give you this address and they tell you show up at this time. And I showed up, I parked in the driveway. It's just a random house in the suburbs, right? Suburbs of Chicago. And I'm like, man, I'm at the wrong place. Like I triple checked this address and everything. So I was like, you know what? Like, whatever. Let's just go up to the door and get turned away just to be sure. And I knock on the door and someone opens the door and they're like, what are you here for? And I told them, my test or whatever. And they were like, all right, come in, go all the way to the back. Right. Like that was the weirdest thing. So I passed like all of their tests. And the year before I started this journey, the process had changed where it used to be where if the field office liked you, they could just refer you and send you to the academy, right? Like as long as you passed all of their tests and everything, the field office was like kind of that final say. Well, they changed it to where if you pass all of the tests, the field office then refers you to DC, and a board that you've never talked to, never seen or anything like that recommends you to go to the academy, or they revoke you. So they actually revoked me, and my recruiter called the board personally. And she's like, you don't understand. I've been talking to this guy since, he was in college. He's worked at this every single day for the last 4 or 5 years. I'm personally recommending him, as well as like, the special agent in charge of the Chicago division. And they were like, yeah, we don't care. He has to wait until he's 30. And they said, well, that was the first time that they ever heard anything like that, was that someone has to wait until a specific age to go in. And so I said, okay, well, maybe that's an FBI thing, right? So I went just straight down the list, went to all the agencies. Every single one told me I had to wait till I'm 30. And my reply was, guys, you do understand, like, I'm 22 right now. You could drop me off in Afghanistan and say, don't come back until this date, and I'll be totally fine. Like, I will enjoy it. I'll love the challenge. That's what I'm signing up for. Right. But when I'm 30, I might have kids. I'm probably going to be making a whole lot more than what you would be paying me right now.